The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited. I know I say that every week, but I am. I am excited about my guest. Her name is Drocella, and I cannot pronounce her last name, so I am not going to botch it up. Instead, I'm going to pull her up. Hello, Drocella. How are you doing?
Hello, Vera. I am super excited to be here. Thank you for
I am
inviting me.
excited to have you here. And can you please pronounce your last name for me?
Mugorewera.
Mugorewera.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. Okay, great. Well, listen, let me share with our audience a little bit about you, and then we're going to talk. Drocella Mugorewera, she is the diversity trust builder. She is an experienced former Rwandan parliamentarian, #1 best-selling author, international speaker, executive consultant, media personality, and creator of the Diversity in Action System, having worked with public, private, and nonprofit agencies for more than 30 years. Drocella knows what it's like to feel vulnerable, oppressed, and unheard after and before being forced to leave her country and become a refugee. As a result, Drocella is building a global movement supporting CEOs and corporate decision makers to champion diversity in their industry so they can build trust within their teams and increase productivity and revenues up to 50%. And there's a download that we're going to be sharing as well. So, how are you, Drocella? Again, I asked that question.
I am excellent. How about
Well,
you?
I am blessed, blessed, blessed. Listen, what I'm going to do is give you a few minutes to share your story. Talk to the audience about who you are and how the experiences that you had. And I'm just going to give you the floor and let you talk.
It is hard to be forced to flee your country, leaving behind your 12 years old daughter, her siblings, and your husband. Escaping and surviving genocide and becoming a refugee from Rwanda were the two stressful and most traumatic events in my lifetime. Even if it was so painful to leave them, to wait for them for 2 years to be reunited, I'm grateful to the American government that gave us a chance to be together again. And I'm using the pain I endured to pay forward. So nobody can be left behind, no talent, nobody should be oppressed because of their ideas and opinion like I experienced it. I thank you for having me today.
Yes, and I know you and I have become friends, and I know that you have such a your heart, and for you to have gone through all the things that you've gone through, and fleeing your country. I'd like for you to share with the audience a little bit about what you did and what you were doing and why it was necessary for you to flee your country.
So I was a politician, and my ideas were not always welcome. Sometimes I was seen as a government enemy. But when you are exercising your constitutional rights, they say that many ideas, many thoughts lead to creativity and innovation. So when I became a politician, I just wanted to use my Christian values to influence decisions, but I didn't know that it will be a, a threat. And I did believe that I was protected by the Constitution, but some leaders didn't, walk the talk. And this is what I'm talking about in the book I just co-authored, challenging the status quo. I want leaders walk the talk, and employers do the same, treating their employees the way they want to be treated. So I know how to feel oppressed, how to be shut down because of our ideas. And this is why I decided to create a global movement so people can value our thoughts, our ideas, our perspective, no matter the background we have.
Now, in order to establish a global movement, you have to learn, you have to be able to speak the various languages. And let me tell you, audience, Drocella speaks 5 different languages. I'd like for you to share with our audience what those languages are and how you came about learning those particular languages.
The first native language is Kinyarwanda. The country I am originally from is Rwanda, and the language is Kinyarwanda. The second language is Kirundi. Burundi is the country neighboring Rwanda, and the languages are almost the same. The third language I learned was French. I learned it in primary and high school. And then at college, I went to Ukraine, and this is where I learned Russian. But when I was at high school also, I learned a little bit English, and I was sad that I couldn't continue to learn about it. When I graduated from college, I went back home, and then I went to the American Center to start to learn English. And then when we had the horrible killings in 1994, I had my intermediate certificate. So when I became a refugee, I just was self-learning so I can communicate better. And now I'm very passionate because our communities are becoming more diverse. And I want people to leverage language diversity, not only in schools, but also at the workplace.
And the thing is, we are a global community. We live all over the world, but because of the internet, connections are like that, and having and meeting people from all over the world. And so being able to learn and know these various languages, I only know English. I tried.
And you can learn more.
Well, I don't know. There are some people, I believe, that really have a knack for being able to learn various languages. And I'm not sure. I guess I need to go to Babbel and learn.
If you give yourself like a trip to Spain, if you want to learn Spanish, or to France in 3 months, you will be fluent in that.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. But anyway, I want you to explain to our audience why it is so important to embrace various languages, and particularly in the workplace, being able to identify with various cultures and understand the languages of the people that you're working with, because again, workplaces should be diverse. And I know that is your lane. That's what you do. Help people understand the importance of diversity, particularly in the workplace. And so I'd like for you to just share for young people that may be listening to us or may catch the replay. Talk about why you feel it's so important to learn different languages.
It is very important to learn different languages because we are now in a global economy. People travel all over the world. And now, as business women, we know sometimes you need even virtual assistants from other countries. But at the workplace, we have different talents from people from other countries. Sometimes they are not hired because they don't have a fluency in the business language, but doesn't mean that they are stupid. They are fluent in their language, and what I encourage organization to do is to put in place infrastructure. And then the languages, of course, it starts from home. I encourage parents and schools. And you see, my grandson is almost 4 years old. He's a Christmas boy. But now he's learning 6 languages because the parents speak one language more than I do. So in the more languages you speak, you can serve more people. I remember when I was working in a clinic, somebody came, they were speaking Russian. Nobody could assist them. And I said to my supervisor, I said, can I help them? I listen to what they say. They say, oh, yes, go ahead. So, and also what I want to say that when you have multiple cultures, you learn the languages, you learn the culture, you become one and you become more rich because you leverage every talent, every perspective you have. I remember when I became a director for a nonprofit, I did bring some ideas they never thought about. So learning another language is the gift you can give to your child, your grandchild, and even for adults. Now I'm learning some words of Spanish, and everybody I meet in another from another country, I want just to learn to say hello. How can I help you? Things like that. Because when I speak, for example, English, you say, "Oh, we can communicate," and just companies should not leave behind those skills and talents because it can add value and increase revenue and profits in their organization by leveraging other languages. And the way they can do it, they can help people who the English, for example, or business language is not English. They can put infrastructure in place. They can give incentive to people who want to learn English. And also they can collaborate with other companies who provide language services and have a language line, because you cannot be counted as an inclusive organization if people come to your doors and you cannot communicate with them.
And unfortunately, here in this country, there is not a lot of emphasis placed on learning a multitude of languages, like in other countries. In other countries that don't speak English, English is something that is taught in the schools along with their own language. But here in America, our primary language is English. Everything is done in English, and you have to be in a special group to learn different languages in high school. And so I think to have kids learning various languages at an early age should be something that's incorporated in our preschools and our elementary schools as well, because that way you can be more inclusive. That would also allow for kids that are in diverse schools to learn the cultures of their classmates that may speak English, but they speak something else as well. So I think to be able to do that is just very, very, very important.
Yes, to count yourself as welcoming is to try to communicate with people surrounding you. And in America, there is a good start because there are many students who learn at least a second language. If they can master that language, the first one, the second one they are learning, imagine how many multilingual professional in all kind of industry, being healthcare, education, engineering. So we have some foundation where people can start from, but we have to invest in that if we want to be more open, more inclusive, but also to have more profitability.
Absolutely. And I think what the work that you're doing and trying to allow companies to understand the importance of diversity, and let's talk about that for a minute. Now, talk about what it is that you are trying to definitely instill, and why is this so important. Now we know why it's important, but let's talk about why is this so important to understand various cultures in the workplace in particular.
So I believe that there are millions and millions of people in the world who are not treated with respect and dignity by the authorities that are tasked to protect or promote them. It doesn't have to be that way. So there are, you can hear many women, for example, who are in the workplace and they train people and they never get promoted. And some of us who are not native from like America, for example, it's sometimes hard to trust that we can do the work. And what is strange, for example, I could work for United Nations organization without going back to school or to do a test. But when you go to certain countries, they say your degree is not transferable. So what I am encouraging people to do now, we have divine degrees. Our expertise, our experiences are needed. And I want to share that whatever, whoever you are, wherever you are, you have divine gifts you can capitalize on. And the way now people are recruiting people and hiring, it doesn't work the way it was working like 10 years ago. People
Right.
are demanding, employees are demanding diversity. They demand to be seen, to be heard, to be engaged, to be valued, and to be celebrated. And like all of us, we like that. Why don't we treat others the way we like to be treated? This is the simple definition of diversity. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
I know. And right now in our country, that needs to be on a bullhorn, loud and clear, because we have all this visceral stuff going on the internet, bullying, all these things in the workplace. It is just, it's unacceptable. But until we are willing to speak up and speak out and stand up and take back our power, it's going to continue to happen. So, what do you tell leaders and managers who are overseeing diverse groups? And if they're not, how do you encourage them to embrace diversity and be intentional about it?
I start by saying, imagine if you yourself, as a leader, were excluded for any reason, or you were going to interviews and we were told you don't belong here. So if you would like to move forward, use your talents and skills, other people like you are human being like you. And the talents they have can always impact and profit your organization. One of the things sometimes also is like people maybe say, yes, we are open, but we don't know how. And this is why I created a diversity in action system, taking my clients from declaring their commitment to celebrating the results they want. But, it takes 21 days to change a habit. It may take at least 2 years to change a culture. And this is why when I work with them, I don't leave them away. So we go through the training, we co-create the program according to their goals and aspirations. And then we can see the result, the indicators, and not only The leaders, some companies have diversity, equity, and inclusion professionals, but it's like they are lived alone, and they don't give them enough resources. So they also need some resources. One of the things is to dedicate resources, be human or financial resources. And language diversity, for example, I ask companies to have a language line. The language line is working with the company. You can call anytime when you have somebody who doesn't speak the language of the business to know what they want. And also you can work with them to train those professionals whose English or other language is not the primary language.
And I know that you're giving away the 5 pillars, correct?
Yes.
Let's talk about those 5 pillars. And I want to put them in the chat as we're talking about them. And I've got some delayed responses happening right now. I don't know what's happening with my technology, but we're going to forge ahead. So I'm going to put in the comments these 5 pillars. So as you say them, I'm going to put them in the chat. So what are those 5 pillars?
The first one is declare. You declare your commitment to diversity, because everything starts from commitment. Why and why it does matter for the organization, and how did you get there? What are the beliefs? What are the beliefs, your beliefs around diversity, equity, and inclusion? That is number one, declaring your commitment. Are you ready for number two? Did I lose you, Vera? Hello, Vera. I lost you. Hello, my dear. The technology. Did I lose you? Let me check on her. Hello, hello. Hello, Vera. Technical difficulties can happen. Let us wait and see. Yeah, sorry. So while we are waiting for Vera to come back on our show, I was talking about 5 pillars of diversity in action system. The first one is committing to diversity. You have to declare it to the whole world, because sometimes you go to a website, for example, if you are an employee and you want to see if you want to work with people, you have to say, hey, I am excited, I can work for this organization. But you have to see the values and the belief they are standing, if they are attracted for you, if you it's an environment that you want to work on in. The pillar number 2 is to define your goals and metrics. And this is where we help companies to assess, to do an assessment from where they are, where they want to be. And then we can work on different things. So in the first pillar, I help organizations to frame their own manifesto, because people want to have that manifesto so they can have a tool that every employee, every client, every partner can use to say, this is what we stand for. This is the values we stand for in terms of diversity. Vera, welcome back.
And you were still talking. I saw you on YouTube continuing with your conversation. You did the pillar number 1, the pillar number 2, and I couldn't hear or see you or any of that. I was really having a problem. So anyway, I'm glad you were able to continue. Thank you.
Okay, so we can
Keep
continue.
going.
So
Yes,
if
yes.
you did write the pillar number 1, declaring your commitment to diversity,
I
and
didn't get a
then
chance to do that.
yeah, the pillar number 2 is to define your goals and metrics, because as they say, if you don't know where you are going, you are stagnant, you don't know what to do.
Or you might
So
end up somewhere else.
yeah, so and the pillar number 3 is dedicating resources, being human or financial resources. And this is where I was saying that since we are talking about the importance of learning and practicing languages, this is where you have to say, what infrastructure do I have to put in place so people can communicate inclusively without leaving any culture behind? And number 4 is developing a capacity building plan or a training plan. Because in diversity, we learn, we unlearn, and we relearn. Because there are things we learned in the past which are not true, and there are new things we have to adapt. And as I say, we have different cultures, and maybe you never encountered somebody from this culture. You have to learn from their culture, and they have to learn about your culture, so you can collaborate and knowing each other and complementing each other. And the last not least, deliver results and celebrate your team and the success you are getting both together. And then if you are building like more reserve, for example, in the results holiday, how do you spread that worth with the people who contributed to that?
And
So
let's talk about some of those rewards and some
uh-huh.
how can a company celebrate their wins? How can they celebrate and show how much they value their employees?
So I did learn one tip from Joy Baldridge in the book, The Joy in Business. You see, sometimes there are same employees who are celebrated over and over or who are rewarded. So you can institute because of you a word. And everybody will, if you do something good today, they will say, today Vera Thomas did something. And after tomorrow or tomorrow, it will move to Drocella. So every employee can be celebrated and rewarded. Another
And
thing is to have those cultural celebration. Like we are ready to celebrate Thanksgiving. I tell you, I am the turkey cook in my house. I learned about that. You see, when I came to America, I had to talk to my coworker to know how to do that. So, and then, for example, October 16, it's International Food Day. You know, food, culture, music are the things that put people together. When you are in a workforce, in a workplace, you can celebrate, you can have like a calendar of different celebration, and every culture will be celebrated somehow. If we have International Women's Day, we will celebrate. If we have to celebrate men in November, let us celebrate them, you know. So, and if we have Bosses Day, yes, what do we do for the bosses? Even if I would like to call them servant leaders, but it's there, it's the boss day, and we celebrate that. So these are the things you do, and also you celebrate people also by knowing what they want, and you give them what they want. If, for example, you have like women with children, and you can provide for daycare, because daycare is an issue, and what affects your employees, if you don't take care of that, it will automatically affect your productivity. So these are some of examples, but I think there are many ways to be more creative and have that calendar of holidays you can celebrate, and nobody will be left behind. And the most important things is to ask your employees, how do they want to be celebrated and when? And then you will
I
have
love it.
a win-win situation.
I love it. And that is so true. And also little things like little sticky notes that a manager might leave on one of the co-workers' desks. Great job today. I appreciate what you said in the meeting. And things just to show value. That is so important. And I know I'm going to pull up one of the books that you've got, and we're going to talk about that if my computer is going to allow me to do it. I was trying to do a commercial when we had the interruption, and for some reason, I'm not able to pull up anything. I wanted to.
The book is there.
You have your book, and do you see it?
Yes,
Okay,
I see the with grace and grit.
okay. Let's talk about it because I'm not seeing it on my end, but I do see it on
Yes.
YouTube. Maybe it's a good thing I have my YouTube up so I can see what's going on. All right, so let's talk about this book.
So this book has a story. Networking is my second superpower. So I was networking and attending one women's conference, and then we were talking about children leadership, and we were sharing our stories, how we did exercise our leadership role as children. And then I shared that I was very excited. In African culture, they have children naming, like on the 8th day after children's birth, you go as a family to name it children. And then we were very excited to have our names, and then they can be written. And then one lady who was fascinated by the story I shared, Bernice Williams, said, Drocella, I'm putting together a team of women who will share their stories about the business, their business journey. And are you interested to be part of this? And I'm grateful for you, Bernice, for giving me the opportunity. Because as Les Brown said, there are many people who are talented. They have great stories that can change the world, but they die without sharing those stories. And for me, sharing my story is part of the legacy. and ideas I share, the thoughts I share can help people, and I had been having good feedback. All the struggle we are going through, all the pain we are going through, it does come to us for a reason, and we are stronger than we think we are. So for me, the chapter in this book is about challenging the status quo, because in the daily life, change happens. In the diversity, equity, and inclusion, also changes must happen. And sometimes you have to have difficult conversation. You have to face the realities of things, because diversity, equity, and inclusion is not checking box. It's doing
No.
the work. It's living the talk. When you say something, do it, because you cannot just be blind and close the eyes. We see the gaps, and as leaders, we are required to bridge those gaps. So in this book, I talk about my journey as a politician, how I embarked on becoming an entrepreneur, because I didn't, when I was leaving the corporate nonprofit world, and I was helping refugees and immigrants, I felt a call to expand my reach to African Americans, the police department. But I did say, God, I don't know how to do this. But Vera, aren't you sick and tired because of the tension between the police and minorities?
Yes.
Aren't we equipped to handle this? This is why in my diversity in action system, I talk about the power of words. Our words have power of God. How can we use good words to give people peace, to give them hope, and to forgive? Because if I didn't forgive, I would not be where I am today.
Yes. And for all that you went through, I mean, you would have to have a forgiving heart to be the person that you are now, because otherwise you could be very bitter, very negative, but you have not allowed your circumstances to dictate the type of person that you are. I want you to come back to the thing that you guys do in your culture with the names. You talked about when a child turns 8 years old, they
No,
get to choose their name.
8 months, 8 days. After 8 days,
Okay.
so yeah, so the family will come together, and the children will be first to name the baby, and then the adults,
Really?
yes, and the adults will follow. So
So a child does not have a name until they're 8 days old.
yes, normally what I saw here to name people in the hospital, there they were named 8 days after. Yeah,
Can,
they don't give the name so early, because sometimes also culturally they say you have to wait until the baby is there, because you don't know that the baby will come to birth, you know. And then when they are there, I remember when I graduated from college, that was something I did, maybe which is not cultural approved. I got all the things without knowing that I would have a baby, you know. But
yes,
fortunately,
we've got a
yes,
couple of people in the audience. Angel, talk too fast. Okay, hi Angel. Angel is the reason that we are doing this cyberbullying petition, and I'm going to be talking about that in a minute. And then Sin, thank you. She says, hello,
thank you.
hello, hello,
Uh,
hello.
yeah,
Thank you so much for being here. And then Karma, well, she says, hello.
and I
Okay.
saw Lawana Elia was there too.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Karma,
Hello, everyone. Hello.
yes, hello. Thank you guys for your feedback and for saying hello and giving us a shout out. We appreciate it very much, very much. And now back to, I always like to acknowledge when people come in because
Yeah,
that's very important. And so
it
thank you
is.
so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Now, one of the things that you said that the reason they wait until 8 days is, does that allow them a chance to kind of get a feel for the child's personality,
I
or
think that they wanted also the mother to feel like rested. Giving birth is not an easy process.
no, it's
And
not.
then they can settle, they can sit, they can hold the baby steady, and then the ceremony can start. But I think it's a good one, because when I saw people naming people from the hospital, this is why we talk about cultures. You know,
Right.
you have to know where to bring the babies, the baby shower here before birth. It's something new. It was something new to me.
That's interesting. That is interesting. And so understanding cultures is so important because we all bleed red. And
Mhm.
so we need to understand that we are more alike than we are different. And I
Different.
want to take a few minutes. I have some commercials that I need to play. They weren't coming up, and so what I'm going to do, let me go back and see if I can get some. It's just not happening. But I do want to share. We have another comment that came in. Um, Aurora. Okay, Aurora. Thank you for being here.
Thank
And
you.
Angel said this is extremely interesting. And so, understanding cultures is, because
Yes.
I'm telling you, diversity to me is beautiful. When you see all the different shades of people and the personalities, and if we could show love, if we could be more loving towards each other, and get to know each other. So when you talked about celebrating in the workplace, that's how people get to know each other and learn about cultures, fellowship together. All of those things are so important. And teaching your kids about
Yes.
diversity and surrounding them around difference will
Yeah.
change some of the hatred and the bullying and all that kind of stuff that we have going on. Speaking of bullying, there is a petition that's out there, and this petition is for cyberbullying of YouTube creators, but it's not only for YouTube creators, but it's for everybody that's being bullied on the internet. And so I need you to sign this petition, comment on the petition, and share the petition. And I'm going to see if I can at least pull up the link, because right now my screen is not allowing me to do anything at all. So Angel, if you have the link, I'm sure you do. If you have the link, please put it in the chat for me so people will know how to sign this petition, because we want 100,000 signatures. That may
Mhm.
sound like a lot, but we had over 500 within 2 weeks. So I know we can get 100,000 signatures. So please, Angel, if you have it, please put it in the chat so that we can share.
And I
Now,
think on that, Vera, if I can give an advice how you get to those signatures, maybe you
yes,
have
you're the networking queen. Go ahead.
recruit ambassadors, and even you can say, we have 50 states. Who do I know in this state who can help us to move forward with this petition? Because I think having champions of any cause will help more. And talking about diversity, I would encourage people also to go out of their comfort zone. We are talking about food, music. I remember one of the joyful days in my life was attending my son's wedding. You could see the cultures. We had our mass, the church service in African, and they would mix up with American culture and many people and the food and all the things. So that's joy, and people are coming to say, "Oh, how this happened?" Even we did dance in the church, like we dance and we dress in our culture. So it was just wonderful. I just invite people to be open minded and just be curious. When you see somebody in the neighborhood, at the workplace, just go and say, hello, my name is this. Sometimes I teach people how to deal with the strangers, asking about
Yeah.
family, occupation, and then recreation, and asking them about what they do for fun. Those are the things that can help you to get out of your comfort zone and to
Yeah.
talk to strangers.
Yeah, ask questions. And a comment since she says, I love learning about new cultures. I'm telling you, it's fascinating. And I used to drive Uber and I had all kinds of people in my car. And just being able to talk about the various cultures. For example, the Hindu religion or people from India, I always thought that all of their marriages were planned marriages, where they were already designated who they were going to marry through the family by what they had and all that kind of stuff. But they do also have a component where it's not that way,
Mm.
and so I didn't know that. So being able to have that conversation, I had one person in my car where it was an arranged marriage and they were together for many, many, many years. And then I had another Indian person where their marriage was not an arranged marriage, and so having understanding those little nuances within cultures, it's exciting. So
Yes.
it's really exciting to learn about different cultures and different people. It really is. And just to think to have our children learn those things at an early age, because they don't see all the differences that adults see. They don't. Go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
also, I want to say, yes, conversation is good. In terms of diversity, this is what we are talking about, relationship. Even relationship at the workplace. It's not top down. You need me, I need you, we need each other. So let us talk. And if there is a problem, and if there is a challenge, even now, if there is even like economic challenge, you do not have to deal with it just you as a leader. There are people who have many ideas and thoughts that can ease your stress and adversity. So I think being open to conversation and relationship, that can make diversity, equity, and inclusion a good pathway to get to more results in profit and profitability.
Absolutely. And Angel, all you need to do is just like you're commenting here in the comments, just put the link in the comments, just like you're talking to me. So try that. See if that'll work, because I do want people to have access to this. Also, the other thing that I have wanted to share with Christmas coming, don't you want a special, unique gift that you can give that will last forever? Well, I create those kinds of gifts. They're unique. They're based on their favorite colors. It will help uplift, encourage, motivate, inspire, and it will be a gift that will be cherished for life. And because I cannot even do my video, just hit me up on either LinkedIn or Facebook and say you're interested in knowing more, because it will make a wonderful gift for your children, for your spouse, for your mother, for a family. I've even done them for the whole family on a huge poster photo board with poems for each one of the members in their own favorite colors. And so check it out. See me, talk to me, and let's see if we can get that special gift for your family. And Drusilla, we have another book that you have out that I want us to talk about as well. And
Yes.
let me see if it will come up. I don't know what's wrong with my well, you can tell me if it pops up or not. Let's see. Okay.
Leaders, leaders with a heart.
Leaders with
Yes.
a heart, which is
Yes.
what we've been talking about.
Yes. I also contributed to this book through networking. A friend of mine from Australia, Wendy Connor, knew Payman Lorenzo, who is the podcast host of Leaders with a Heart. And then when we were talking, His parents were refugees from Afghanistan. And we started to talk about refugee life and the things we have been gone through. And afterwards, when he said, "Can you be one of the authors in the first book, the first volume?" I said, "Yes," because as I said, our stories are our power. Our stories are medicine for other people. This book, the title of the book is "I'm No Longer a Victim, I Am a Creator." Because at one time, when I became a refugee, I didn't know what will happen tomorrow. As I told you, I was separated from my children for 2 years. It was hard. But having a supportive group, and this is, there are people who are here, and loneliness in America is a huge issue. I just want to encourage people to have a cycle of friends, a cycle of a group support. So with the community members, with the people who showed me how to start a business in America, how to network with other people, how to read books. And then now I became an author and I'm writing another one, my own. So it means that those stories, and when people share the stories, it's like building a legacy. People will know the things we don't know, and the way you struggled and you overcame those struggles can help the people who are going through the same challenge. It's like you. So I wanted to share my refugee journey and how even the refugee program can be a role model, an economic model for low income and marginalized other people. Because when you come in a new country with no money, no friend, nothing to rely on besides the welcoming community, and you thrive at the end, it can serve, that economic model can serve for other people who are marginalized in our community. And I wanted to share and encourage, even young people to welcome refugees and not to be hostage of fear. The fear of scarcity is killing people. And there is abundance for all of us. There are resources we are not here to take. If I tell you the resources I had back in my country, they are priceless and I will never recover them. But the safety and the security is priceless. So I just want people to be open-minded and to learn why people are fleeing their countries and to try to help each other, because we are in this fight together and we want to support each other. And they are bringing social, economic, and cultural values into our communities.
Yes. And since she says yes. And
Mm.
Aurora, she says, yes, sorry, posting links doesn't work if you're not a mod. Oh my God. Okay, well, we'll be posting it anyway on our pages. But that what you're saying is so important, and just being able to embrace, to be a light, to show love, to care for each other, like when you first started, you said treat people the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. Treat
Yeah.
people the way you want to be treated. And just think, if we did that, even scripture says, love thy neighbor as thyself. And we've got a lot of self-haters, people that don't like themselves. And therefore, that's why they
Yeah.
treat other people the way they do, because they don't like themselves. And so we need to really get a grip and understand who we are so that we can better relate to other people. So important.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you continue.
Yes, I want to say also, in this diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, we teach people how to lead with love. Uh,
Lead with love.
I think, I do not remember if it's John Maxwell who said that you can love people without leading them, but you cannot lead people without loving them.
I
And
love
if you
it.
give love to your employees and vice versa, if you don't love your supervisor, there is no way. You have to be happy. You have to have fun in what you do. And when you put love first, when you put grace first, all this will bring results to you. The fruits will come, obviously. But when you close the door to love, you are closing the doors to blessings.
And so many times companies are looking at their bottom line, which are the dollars, without recognizing their most valuable asset are their people. So if
Mhm.
your people are your most valuable asset, then why not treat them as such? And which means showing love, giving love, be love. And if you're giving it, just imagine as a manager, as a leader, how much more fulfilling you're going to be if you're if
Yeah.
you're coming if you're leading from that heart servitude, being a servant's heart, where you're giving instead of constantly wanting what's in it for me, where can I get, absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely,
we are all valuable human beings, and every talent, every skill should be put at the table. And sometimes also, I was an executive and I was hiring people. Sometimes you go beyond the job description and ask people what else do they love to do, what are other skills, because when they put them to work, it benefits both of you. So I think this time is the time of being creative, being innovative, and be open to challenges. Be open to new ideas. Be open to even the ideas you do not want to hear. Because if an idea came to rise, there is a reason why.
absolutely, absolutely. And for companies to even have a suggestion area
Mm,
where employees can feel comfortable putting suggestions, even anonymously, suggestions that may help the company improve some improvements, but they may be reticent to share who they are that's saying it for repercussions, because it may be something that needs to happen, and for leaders to be open enough to
yeah.
listen to what's being said and suggested and take heed to that.
And for those one who do not to share what openly, this is where the consultants come in. So there are people who will talk to the consultant openly, and then they will put the ideas together and they will share anonymously with supervisors or decision makers. So you have to know your people, what they like, how they like to contribute, and value everybody's work style and lifestyle. This is why treating people at the level where they are at is very important, because everybody is unique, and then you have to meet them where they are.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to see if I can get this to play. No, I can't. So there are no commercials today. So I can't hear you. What happened? I lost you. I can't hear you. I can't hear a word you're saying. Oh, okay. It's trying to come up. It came up. It's showing up on the all right, we'll let it play.
They were praying. I lost you. Vera, can you see me? I cannot hear you.
Right. Let me tell you.
Now I can hear you.
Okay, let me tell you about the music. The music to this particular video that I just showed you, my son.
Can you see me?
Yes, my son, he is the producer of the music for my commercial. And
Wow.
so that is,
I cannot hear you.
we've got two things going on.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, let me tell you about the music. The music to this particular video that I just showed you, my son.
Can you see me?
Yes, my son, he is the producer of the music for my commercial. And so that is.
I cannot hear you.
Okay, she says. Two things going on. Okay, and a real, she says that it's playing on her end. The music to this particular video. Okay, let me just shut it down. Yes, my son. Okay. He is. All right. All right. So now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We've got a couple of comments. Aurora, she says, I used to work with refugee children, and I must say, with everything they had been through, I was more amazed by how many functioned so well than the fact that a few didn't. So she was more impressed with those that did and were able to. Thank you guys for these comments. And then Aurora says, it's playing on our end, Vera. And Sid said, get it. All right. Well, I'm glad that you guys saw it. Those are the creations that I create and am creating for Christmas. And I'm telling you, I have seen the impact that they have had. I've been doing them for years. I have literally hundreds and hundreds. And we're out of time. I just looked at the clock. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, I'm going to give you the last few words, and then we're going to thank you guys for being here and chiming in. Stay tuned next Tuesday, and I'm going to give you. And Thursday it's Thanksgiving, so I will not be on next Thursday, but I will be on Tuesday. So I'm going to give you the last words, Drocella, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much.
So thank you for having me. And we were talking about gratitude, how you treat your employees. This is the time to send a thank you note to your employees, no matter the numbers of them. And same for employees, to send thank you to the supervisors and other leaders in your network. And as the Thanksgiving, I have a gift for you. If you go to Drocella.com, you can download 5 ways to leverage language diversity for profit and success. And I hope that you enjoyed the show. And if you will replay, and if you want to connect, you can connect with me. My email is drocella@drocella.com, and I am active on LinkedIn. So I'm grateful for you, Vera. I don't take for granted the relationship we had through networking.
Yes.
Together we can do more.
Yes. Well, I love you and thank you. And listening audience, we will see you next week. And Drocella, if you would just hold on, then so that I can talk to you when it's over. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening. And we will see you next week. God bless. It's mine. Okay.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 Let's talk Let's talk